in either expansion or revision to it. We're freezing it where it's at. So in answer to your question, we would keep it frozen where it's at and make no changes to it until we get to another funding level. To make some of the order of magnitude changes that would be required to get it uniform, because right now we call it revenue neutral, which is the underlying foundation for it is flawed on just about everybody's mind. Translinks to users, etc. To get to something different where you have a uniform charge for every student, it's scores of millions of dollars to expand the program. $20, $40 million a year. So it's real money. So in answer to your question, we're not going to eliminate it. It's going to be frozen where it's at the 130 or $275 million mark. I just want to verify that with Ian.
That's correct.
Okay.
So if it's frozen in place, but we have a commitment from the minister that I think it's within this next year, they are going to figure out how to fund it. How does that fit within our 130 and 275 options that you're saying don't address?
I would assume they would be bringing other money to the table and saying, much the same they did with Fairgates, I'm giving you N million and it's earmarked specifically for this. That's the only way I could see that happening.
So based on the probability of that happening, which I guess depends on whether or not the provincial government is good for its word, they could do the
ability to pay too. I mean, it's just like a piece stickers.
Ability to pay, but then there's the same commitments that have been made in effect to get us to the 450. We're not allowed to vote. In theory, there's no reason for us to put the 450 on the table because the province and the interpretation of the legislation says
It's not funded.
it's not funded, and yet there's a probability that they're going to fund these other components that are not on the table either.
Right.
So to the Commissioner, I'm really worried about the consistency here. It seems like the interpretation of legislation where we say we can't say we need 450, even though probably everyone in this room knows we need 450 million for sustainable funding to build out our transit system. It's all based on the province saying no, it's not on the table. But then there are these other items such as Fairgates, such as UPass that they are also committed to, and they are on the table, but are on a different table that we're not voting on.
Pretty much.
Chair, that's right.
Very succinct. Seriously, I mean, if the Mayor's Council wished to make a statement about the desirability of an unfunded 450, then it can pass a motion about that. It can do that. But it won't have any legal force in terms of TransLink being held to it, because they cannot be held to it.
So in terms of that legal force, what is the interpretation of the legislation based upon? Who has made that interpretation?
That's my interpretation.
And are you a lawyer by trade, or
No.
so has there been a legal opinion made on the interpretation of the
We
legislation?
do not have a legal opinion on that particular issue. We could get one, but my personal view is it's obvious.
Because I think within the legislation it states that any plan that is approved has to be fully funded. And we know that's what's needed. I think everybody in the region knows it's needed as a long-term plan, but it's not fully funded today. So I think that's the challenge.
Just one final quick question
Please.
to the Commissioner. A year from now, assuming, let's say we hunker down and say, okay, we'll survive for another year, the 130 or the 275, whichever makes the most sense at the time. In your opinion, we'll be in the same position a year from now in terms of looking at a long-term cohesive approach and funding options. Will we be in a worse position or a better position in terms of negotiating for what needs to happen?
See, the short answer, Madam Chair, is that funding stabilization we've characterized as a buying time option. So the system will be in the same position if nothing is done over the next year. Yes, we'll be in the same position.